Hey guys, before we go any further, just a quick disclaimer. I am not a therapist in any way, shape, or form. I'm just here giving you ways in which I dealt with my mental health. Without further ado, let's jump right into this week's episode. Hey guys, and welcome back to another season, season 2. We got this far already. We started in last year in April, and since then we've been getting guests coming on, and it moved quite forward quite quickly. Getting quite a lot of good people, got a lot of response on the Facebook site as well as the Instagram. And I'd just like to say a massive thank you to everybody. I've had a few months off because doing this type of podcast, listening to these kind of stories, it does drain you thinking about things like that. With everybody that's gone through all these different types of things, it makes you remember the things that I went through, kind of thing. And to realize that there's more of us out there that also need this help. It shows it's a massive problem, not just in the UK, but in the world. And my next guest has already mentioned there's a lot of people out here screaming for help, but it's not being given readily. No one's really actioning it. And unfortunately, people end up going down the wrong route rather than getting the right help to put them on the right path. So, this is what this podcast is about. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to the wonderful Susan, who is all the way from the lovely place that is Scotland, one of my favourite places to photograph, especially up in Glencoe. So, welcome, Susan, to Still Worth the Journey.
Hello, welcome. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. And hello, Jermaine.
Hi there. So, how's things been, Susan? When was your Christmas and stuff like that?
My Christmas was kind of a little bit of a mix-up because my uncle passed away in the summertime last year, so it was the first Christmas without him. And then a very loyal friend of mine's passed away in December of a heart attack, and he's actually younger than me.
Well, I actually remember you telling me that. Actually, I
And
did a little, yeah.
he was a brilliant guy. He was a brilliant guy. He was a good laugh. You got a brilliant laugh out of him, and we worked together for many years prior as well. And basically, he was just the best laugh ever. You couldn't. He always knew how to make me laugh. If I was feeling low or feeling down, he always knew how to make me smile.
Oh, brilliant! We need more people like that in the
We
world
need more
that can
people
do
like
that.
that.
Yeah, people that. Well, I've got a few friends like that where they try and make you just whatever they say. You could be in the darkest moods and they just look at you with a sly eye, and you're like, "Oh my god, right? What you got on up your sleeve today?" And they always manage to make you laugh.
And he was kind of one of those guys, you couldn't get away with lying to him. If you went away and said to him, if he said to you, how are you feeling today? And you went away and turned round and said, I feel fine. He always knew you were lying just by looking into your eyes.
That's perhaps why he was taken so early. God needed him. He could see the special gift that he had.
It's just like
Um,
every day I kind of look up and think to myself, I can't see him anymore, but I hope he's up there and he's
he is.
having a blast of a time up there.
He is. He's looking down. Definitely. I do believe in that. I think it makes it a little bit easier as well to carry on in life, knowing that we have got these guardian angels watching over us, even in our darkest hours. They're there because they'll pop in our heads as a memory. Like I guarantee you got so many memories of your friend, and at times when he made you laugh, and when you're feeling down, just think about that memory, and it'll bring it all back.
Yeah,
So
I agree. He's basically he just made me laugh. The music, we had the kind of same style of music in common. So anytime, even to this day, I hear songs, I'm going, oh, he would be saying this, he would be saying that to me. Or he would be jumping about, bouncing and doing some crazy dance, doing some crazy dance. And I'd be sitting, he'd be waiting for me to go, don't do that, please, you're embarrassing me and you're embarrassing yourself. But he
just
said
I'm intrigued.
the word he always kept on saying to me is, Susan, you only live once. Live it while you can. Enjoy it while you can.
Yeah, I'll try and live by that mantra. You only live once, so try and do everything, even if it scares you. Just give it a go because you don't know what you're capable of. But I am intrigued. What kind of music was it then? What you into?
The kind of music I was into was basically I quite liked a lot of rock music. I kind of liked things like what is it? Blink 182. I kind of like the Hooba Stanks and things like that.
Oh wow.
Along that era, and is it Guns N' Roses?
Yeah. Yeah, proper rock chick then.
I liked them. Is it Green Day? I liked things like that, and also liked stuff like from the younger eras, from the 80s. I liked the likes of REM, and I liked the idea of Tears for Fears and things like that. I liked all kind of music, but there was certain songs me and him used to always go up and sing in karaoke together. It was always a case of if he went up and called the song in, he shouted me on, and if I went up and called the song in, I shouted him on.
Wow. And what songs were you using for karaoke for you and him?
The songs we kind of used all the time. There was one song, and it was a song done by, try to remember what it was called. It was called basically "You'll Never Walk Alone,"
Ah, Liverpool.
the Liverpool tune, because I'm a
Yeah.
Liverpool fan. I'm a Liverpool
Yeah.
fan.
I noticed that actually. I saw Elliot up on there. I'm in Liverpool quite a lot. More or less every day. I go
Aye.
to the ports, and we're in Liverpool coming up because I bought my partner a stadium tour and Gordon Ramsay restaurant down on
I
the
love
the Albert
Gordon
Docks.
Ramsay. I love
Yes,
Gordon Ramsay. He's the best
oh,
chef. He's Scottish as well, but
yeah, he
he's
is.
absolutely brilliant. His attitude, the way he cooks, and it's just a case of he doesn't give a damn. He just says exactly what he wants to say.
He does. That's what we love him. We used to watch Hell's Kitchen, and then obviously when I got the opportunity to buy dinner for my partner for her birthday last year, we still haven't done it because obviously we've got kids and stuff and life.
Nah,
And we said, right, this year, Liverpool, we've got 3-course meal at Ramsay's in Liverpool at the Docks as well. Let's do it. So, yeah, we're just trying to organise all of that now because we'll lose it if we don't use it within the 12-month period.
nah, you only have it for 12 months. You,
Yeah, so, yeah, she's a massive Liverpool fan. And so are you. So,
I am. I love
I'm
Liverpool.
actually a secret Liverpool fan as well, actually. I do like watching them play.
I do like watching them. I do like watching them. To be honest, I've never actually had the opportunity to go and see them live in Anfield, but I've seen a couple of games when I was younger in the likes of Everton and like Tottenham Hotspur grounds and things like that. But the one thing I've always said I'll have to do in my bucket list was basically get to Anfield.
Right, anybody listening to this, that's a call out, right? Let's get this lady Susan to Anfield for one game. Now I know one listener is a supporter. He's got a season ticket. So let's hopefully he can come through and say, you know what, Jay, let's sort out one of those tickets for Susan. I would ask him for you personally tomorrow because
Oh,
he's on the
thank you
phone.
very much. That would
Oh, we'll
be
ask him.
much
Yeah.
appreciated. As I
Yeah.
say, I'll still keep dreaming. I keep on saying I'll win one day. I'll win the lottery, and that'll be my dream. I'll get to go down to the cop and actually sit since it's been done up. The cop's all got a new
Yeah.
stand and everything. It looks phenomenal. And the other thing I've always dreamt of doing is I would love to get to meet Harvey Elliott.
Yeah, you're a big fan of him.
Oh, I love him. It's like ever since he came on to Liverpool, he's been one of my favourite players I've watched, I've focused on, and I'm always inspired by what he does because every time he comes on the pitch, he shows something we never seen in the previous. And the fact that I think it's about a week past Wednesday, he actually scored a goal, which I was absolutely
Yeah.
chuffed for.
Yeah, I must admit, I looked up to Gerrard and Henderson. I love the way
I
Henderson
loved
carries
Hendo,
himself.
but he's no longer
So
with
good.
us. And
No,
I
he's
loved
gone now.
Milner. I loved
Yeah,
Milner. He was one
he
of my
was so
favourites.
funny. Have you seen his Twitters? What he
Yeah,
does? I can't come out this weekend. I'm counting my biscuits.
yeah, counting my biscuits. And then it was the way when he was on the pitch, the biggest inspire was it was a case of, I think it was last season, if I remember right, Harvey Elliott scored his first goal in the
Mm.
first team, and it was because what was it? Milner went away and just screamed over to him, "Take the blooming shot."
Yeah, give
He
it a go. Because
screamed
once you
it. You
got your
could hear
first
him
one in,
saying it to him. And Harvey Elliott, after he scored the goal, and if I remember, after the game was done, Harvey Elliott actually went away and said the biggest thing I love about that goal I scored was it was Milner. He just said, "Take the shot." He's inspired me so much and everything. The fact that Salah's also encouraging him as well. So
yeah,
Salah's actually helping him. But some of the new boys were getting just knew that guy that was scored the 2 goals for only being on 27 minutes was brilliant. Dan's.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you like me still because I'm a Leicester City fan.
I've got
We got
nothing
not.
against Leicester City.
We're
I
doing quite
actually
well at
say
the
they've
minute.
got some. I actually say they've got some good players there.
Yeah, we're
They
doing
do
well. We
have some
lost
good
Kenny.
players.
Well, we lost Rogers, didn't we? He's gone back.
Aye.
Rogers is gone. He's Scottish, man. He is. But yeah, we lost out to Everton, unfortunately, which I still think
Everton,
Everton
oh
shouldn't
boy,
have made it
Everton.
through. Yeah, I don't think they should have stayed in the Prem. If I'm being honest with you, I don't think they didn't do enough for their fans. But it would have been drastic for for Everton to leave because of the football in Liverpool is so big. It would have been detrimental to the town, I think, to the
Well, I
city a
think
bit.
they're in the middle of getting a new stadium, if I remember right. Everton's in the middle of building a new stadium on the other side of Liverpool, if I remember right.
Oh right, okay. No, I didn't know
When you
that.
go from their grounds, it's just a couple of. It's not that far from Anfield. Apparently, that one's still in use just now, but apparently they need a new ground. So there's a new ground currently getting built, but it's on the other side of Liverpool, so it's nowhere near Anfield.
Right, okay.
So I've heard.
Right. Well, that's hopefully warmed you up because I know you was a bit nervous. So I thought we'll do this just to warm you in there. So if anybody is tuned in thinking it's a football show, it's not. We're just helping Susan here because she's a bit nervous, and I wanted her to ease into the moment. So football aside, Susan, what's your story?
My story is basically when I was growing up after I left the school, I found it very, very hard to try and talk to people and communicate and get involved with the outside world. Because I found that when I was at school, I got bullied quite a lot. So when I was getting bullied, my idea was every time I finished school was run home and shut myself into my bedroom, turn on my music. That was it. That is how I kept myself going when I got to a certain age in my teenage years. And as I got older, I kind of figured out a way of tried to get myself back into the real world. So one of the first things that I actually did, my hardest thing was getting confidence to actually speak to people and be near people. And for some reason, the thing that came out with get involved in bar work. So that was what I firstly went away and did. I just got away and thought, I'm going to bite the bullet. I need to try and do something. Where's the best place where you're surrounded by people? You'll always have people there, male, female, talking, chatting. I thought, in a bar, let's go for it. So I kind of went into the bar work scene and kind of thought to myself, right, let's see how this goes. Now, I can imagine it's like not easy because you're standing there and you're waiting for people to come up to you, ask them what they need, try and be polite. You get some that want to joke with you and have a laugh. Some of them want to ask you personal questions. But given time, I found that it was helping me loads and encouraging me to just be around people. But yet, I still chose when I wasn't working to stay at home and be alone. If I wasn't in my bedroom, I was basically in the living room watching TV. So then I decided I needed to try and find something. So that was the first step that I took to try and gain my self confidence in being around other people and not feeling out of sorts. I found it very hard to do at certain points because if it got too overcrowded, I was anxious and trying to focus. I still felt inside that I had things in my head telling me, this is not for you, you're stupid, get out of it, it's not you. But kept on. Music was banging in the background, and it was always like music that I liked listening to. So rather than listen to the voices, I said, right, I'm going to listen to the tunes. So I used to stand there, moving about with the music, waiting until people come up the bar asking for what they were needing. Yeah, what can I get for you? And then you got quite a lot of them that came up. Once they got used to you after a few visits, they knew when they walked in the door, they used to say, just usual, please. had the usual ready by the time they got to the bar. Some of them you had a laugh with, some of them you were like, really? What on earth are you trying to do? Is this your way of trying to chat up women, sort of thing? It was just like, whoa. So I thought, no, I don't want to do that. And then as it got on, I started getting more confident in it. And then basically doing a bit more in bar work. But at the same time, I was still working full time because I kind of worked in the the fishing industry, and did filleting, which was a brilliant laugh because you kind of went in the morning. They told you what they wanted done with the product. That was it. That was the last they heard from them, unless they wanted something specific done throughout the day. They just left you to get on with it. It was brilliant, and there was guys, girls, and loads of other things to do in the yard. But you always found somebody to have a laugh with. Torment, slag off. You're either throwing ice at people or hosing them with hoses with cold water and everything, because with fish you had to keep cold, but you had to do something to keep yourself going. But at the same time, it was funny. But I loved it.
That sounds great. So, what what caused the bullying in the first place? What was it? What was it surrounded? Like, what was you being
The
bullied for?
bullying was basically had a lot to do with because I had reading and writing difficulties, and I had to get put into a special school.
Wow.
And that school had a it was brilliant. It learned me a lot. I got to do quite a lot of things, but there's certain things I never got round to doing because of my health and because of my education. I never got round to doing it. So, and because of that, it was a special needs school, but I used to get called some of the most harshest things ever, and since that day, it's stuck in my head.
I was going to say, kids do say the most horrible, hurtful things. I've had it and I've heard it quite a lot. But there's nothing to be embarrassed about with learning to read and write. I still find it difficult to spell quite a lot. I'm dyslexic. There's more people out there than you think, Susan, that are the same. And it's unfortunate that you went through that to have that kind of attack. So, what kind of support network did you have around you at that time? Who could you
At,
confide in?
at that time, there wasn't really much people going about when I was going through school. When I was going through that, there was my mum and my dad and my sisters, but there wasn't really no social community that I could actually relate to. The school tried to help me, but it kind of always seemed to happen. It wasn't being bullied with being in the school. It was the kids from the surrounding areas, from the neighbouring schools, that found out that I was going into that school, and they did not appreciate it. So they bullied me and kept on name calling me, and the name calling me actually broke me down quite a lot. And when I
So,
went home, it was always, for some reason, I don't know how, but for some reason, I used to say, I'm getting name called again, Mum, I'm getting name called again. And they tried to help, they tried to speak to the school teachers, but because it wasn't in our school, there
yeah,
wasn't
the
much they could do about
jurisdiction.
it.
Yeah,
So it
but
was a case of every time I went out my house door, walked out to school, I was slagged off, name called, I got things thrown at me, I got bullied. I just struggled so hard to try and talk to people and gain confidence talking to people, because I'm sitting there going, you wanted to know what? I'm starting to believe they're right with what they're saying about me. That's how I was feeling at the time.
yeah, yeah, but I can relate. Mine was the other way. Mine was because of my colour, the skin colour that I couldn't. I didn't choose it. So I do get what you're trying to say. But did you find? See what I've learnt later on in life. Hopefully you've learnt this as well. People are only nasty and will throw words around because they are scared of the unknown. They are scared. They always attack somebody that they're scared of. They were perhaps scared of you. right? You perhaps had something that they didn't. I mean, what talent have you got that might be better than theirs? They've perhaps got hurt people, hurt people. So
I was
those guys that were being bullied were perhaps getting bullied themselves as well from older siblings. Unfortunately, they took it out on you, and I hate bullies. Absolutely hate bullies. There's no need.
I hate bullies. I also hate the way some people act towards people that have got like disabilities. There's maybe things they were born with, conditions they were born with. They've got to live with that. They didn't choose to accept to get through that. That's just something they've got. And when I've seen things like that nowadays, I've sometimes ended up saying, hey, take a look at yourself in the mirror. That could be you one day. Don't go away and bully and laugh and joke and think it's funny just because somebody's got a condition. Not all
Yeah,
conditions, as I say, are seen. There's loads
yeah.
of people out there with medical health conditions and things like that. You don't know they've got medical health conditions. On the outside, they just look like a normal person.
No, exactly. That I think the mantra here is, or the thing I like to preach is, treat people how you want to be treated. Because karma is only around the corner. If you
Mm-hmm.
make fun of somebody, who's to say a bus doesn't knock you over tomorrow, and then you end up with those same problems?
Yeah, as I always
Respect
kept
people.
on saying, one day somebody you'll get your comeuppance. As I
Yeah.
said, that's the way I always worked it out. As in my head, I always used to say, go around killing people, say what you want to say about people. At the end of the day, one day you're going to get your comeuppance. They're going to come and bite you.
It will do. Unfortunately, it happens when they have children and their children get bullied, and
I've
and that's
always
where it
been
comes back
one.
round.
I've always been one in believing that treat anyone the way you expect to be treated yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a good way to still be. And so, what did it do to you and your personality
It
being bullied?
struggled me. It made me feel horrible inside, and it really, really broke me. It made me feel worthless, and also made me feel through the phase where I was like, what? No, what? I don't want to be here. If this is what life's going to do to me, I don't want to experience it. I'd rather not be here.
What sort of age did it start? How old were you
I
when
had
it
it
started happening?
from, I'd say, probably about the age of 10 onwards.
Was it boys or girls or mix
It
that were
was
doing this?
mixed, but mainly boys. It was mainly boys.
Yeah.
It was just like bullying. I didn't have no confidence, so when guys were trying to talk to me, I struggled trying to speak to them because I thought, wait a minute, nothing. There was times I went through stages where I used to say, I'm away at the park, but I didn't go to the park. I went away somewhere to walk and think. And most
That's
of the time
heartbreaking.
it took me beside the sea, beside the water, the breakwaters of where I lived. Because it was always, I used to go there, think, do I do it? Do I not do it? That was going through my head. Touch wood, I never did it, but it was still basically in my head. So anytime I used to walk around the bay, I used to go, look and look, try and see if I could find nature, find the animals, find the sea life, and just look. And I thank the ocean and everything that helped me quite a lot as I was growing up. But when I was also growing up, I struggled to try and gain activity in joining in sports and things like that. So when I was younger, my swimming instructor of the school that I was in took the benefit of doing everything he could to get me into an activity. And because I went in swimming, he says I was really, really good at it. So from that, when I was still at school, I focused an awful lot on swimming. So I was doing an awful lot of swimming because I did a lot of Commonwealth Games, Four Nation Championships, things like that. My coach
Wow.
put me through that, and this is what a lot of people don't know about me. 1992, I actually went away over to Madrid in the Special Olympics and competed in the swimming and came back with 2 silver medals for Britain.
Wow. Well done, mate. Wow.
I
You
came back
see?
with two silver medals. It was in 4x4 relays. There was me and 3 other girls, but we got 2 medals out of it, and it was in Madrid because that was round about the time the Olympics was in Barcelona. But ours was actually done in Real Madrid because it was special needs. It was a special needs Olympics. So I actually took part in that and actually came back with 2 silver medals. And before that, I was doing like 4 nation championships and everything, which was resulted around my school and everything, which I've got a lot of respect for my coach back then that pushed me and pushed me. And I mean, when he pushed me, he did.
Yeah.
But I gained something out of it. It was brilliant just being able to go. I know I was doing it for myself, but at the same time, I was standing there going, this is for. This is for Britain, but most importantly, it's for Scotland because that was where I came from.
Yeah.
That was what I said in my head. But to stand up on the podium, get that medals handed over to you, and basically walk round the stadium in the opening parade with the uniforms and everything, the British uniform, and basically train with all the people from all over the Britain. I made a few friends out of it. Some of them I haven't seen or heard from for a while, but the ones I've kept in contact with, I've kept in contact with.
That's amazing. Honestly, I'm blown away here. This is amazing. I didn't know that.
No, as I
Wow.
say, it's something that a lot of people didn't know. It wasn't exactly something when I was growing up I was broadcasting because of the way I was feeling, how my health was. Basically, I was okay, but I was thinking if it gets shown, I'll get slagged off for it because I was doing it as a sport for myself, competing for myself, for my team, for my school. But at the same time, because of the school I was in, it was like I'll get name called and everything for it. The words and the names I wouldn't want to put out there.
I'll say it right now, Susan. Right, that's a little bit of karma to those bullies. Where are they? Have they got any medals in life,
I don't think they have.
especially for Britain or Scotland?
No, as I
Okay,
say, I don't
you've
think
got
they
that.
have.
They haven't achieved that. You have. And for all the indifferences that you say you have, I don't believe you have. I think you're just a normal, genuine, warm-hearted person.
Thank
You
you.
know, I don't see the special needs that you were saying. For me, that's you're a person, you're a human being. We've
I
all got our
struggle.
faults. Yeah, we all struggle. We've all got faults. We all pay bills. We all tax. But
I
we don't
just
all have
needed,
medals.
I think it was, I just needed, what was it? Back then, I think I just needed a little more support and help with my schooling than what some people do.
Yeah. Well, the issue with that as well is back then there wasn't the the research into it. I mean, it's only now just starting to get seen properly, isn't it, in schools today?
Yeah,
Which is an unfortunate thing. But look what you accomplished.
I
That's
do.
that's yours. No one can take that away from you, Susan. That's what you've accomplished.
I accomplished it. I felt good for it, and it was brilliant being
Yeah,
able to stand up and say, I've done this for Britain. I'm standing here doing something for Britain. But
you've
more
done it for
importantly,
you.
doing it for me. I was doing it for me as well.
You've proved the world wrong. For all them words that they called you, for everything they said to you, you proved them wrong right there on that podium. And you're like, you know what? This is in your face. Look what
I
I've
did. I
got.
kind of, while I was standing up in the podium, I was standing there with the team waiting for the medals to get put on my neck. And while I was standing there, I was actually going, because around about a few years, about a year or something before that, the coach that put me through everything passed away.
Oh,
So what I actually did is when I was standing on the podium, I actually said, "This is for you. This was for you."
that is honestly that's a lovely, lovely moment in your life, and you should be very proud of that. Very proud.
I do
Um,
feel proud for it. I still look at it today as think to myself, how many more people that bullied me and thought about me and spoke to me the way they did when I was growing up actually can prove that they actually did something like that and
Exactly.
made an achievement for not just for themselves but also for the country. But the way I see it is, if I can do it, anybody can. Don't give up.
Yeah. But they also need determination, and that's what you had. You had that great coach who pushed you through all of your problems that you're perhaps having at that time as well around bullying, to keep you in the pool, to keep you strong at swimming, and then to
He
take you to a
did.
wonderful place like Madrid,
It
and
was a
have your
case.
corner.
Mhm.
Was your mum and dad proud?
My mum and dad was proud. They weren't there with me when I was over in Madrid, but when I came back home and they seen the medals, they were well chuffed. My family were well chuffed. My uncle and all them, they were really, really chuffed. The other person I was thinking about when I was actually doing all this was my grandfather, because my grandfather died when I was about 11 or 12 years old. So when all that, I was like remembering my grandfather as well. I was like, Granddad, this is for you. If you're
Yeah,
watching up there, focus. This is for you. Even when I was getting ready and getting the energy, waiting for the other person to come forward where I had to take over for him in the race, I was going,
yeah,
Grandfather, this is for you.
yeah. Honestly, I'm really proud of you for that. That's an amazing accomplishment. Not many people in this world walking can say that they've got an accomplishment as big as that, and from as young as that. So,
I'm
fair
trying to
play to you.
remember.
Well done.
I would have been trying to remember what I would have been. I just left the school, so I would have just been coming up to. I would have just turned 17 years old when I did this accomplishment.
That's amazing. Did you want to carry it on, or did you
I
just?
did carry it on. I carried it on for as long as I can. But when I left the school, and as I got older, and because I was getting into employment, I didn't have much time.
Yeah,
So I kind of still kept swimming. I still kept training and did like bay swims and things like that for charity, and also tried to do like basically open swimming as well as an open sea swimming as well,
yeah.
just to do it.
That's
That's coming
courageous.
back. It's brilliant. It's like colder. It's colder. Trust me, it's very cold. But once you get started in it, everybody's going, that's freezing. It looks freezing. I was like, it is
Yeah.
when you first go into it, but once you start moving about in it, you don't feel it as much. But it
Yes.
feels brilliant because you're doing it in the wilderness. The worst thing about it is because it's salt water, it
Yeah.
tastes horrible. Tastes horrible when you're breathing and going underwater, breathing and out and stuff like that. So it's but it's brilliant to do and it's brilliant fun.
I wish I could do this. See, I'm scared of the sea. I'm like really like I love the sea, but I respect the sea because I know how powerful it is. So I'm too scared to go out in the sea. I'd paddle. I go up to my waistline, but that's about it. And I have to wear my sliders because I'm scared of crabs on the bottom biting my
In
feet.
case you find the crabs and everything.
Yeah. But do you still swim now? Do you keep
I
that
do
up?
swim. I do swim now. I maybe don't get to go as much as I can now, but I still enjoy it, and I still like doing my swimming and basically just getting out there. A couple of times I've went into water. I've kind of encouraged quite a few people over the years, basically, that's been scared.
Yeah.
I've
Oh
told
right.
them, I've
Okay.
gave them tips. I've kind of gave them tips and ideas about what to do, where to go, and just move about. I remember there was once I took a girl into the swimming pool, and all I did was stood in the water with her for about 40 minutes. And I just said to her, walk about. We're in the shallowest bit of any. Just walk about. I says, just walk, flow. I says, don't look down, don't think of it as water, just think of it as you're walking. And I think it was after a couple of lessons, after a couple of helping advice lessons, she kind of went away and started moving about in the water and then got into it. And then she's going, what else can you teach me? What else can you tell me? And I just did it because I was in the pool at the same time she was in the pool. It wasn't like somebody I went away and learned. It was a case she's going, what else can you teach me? I says, maybe try
Yeah.
doing this. So I learned her a few things, and then within a couple of weeks after that, she was going, always telling her mum and dad, take me down to the swimming pool, take me down to the swimming pool.
You could have done that for a job, been a coach with all what
I
you
did,
know.
I did find when I was basically coaching and when I was doing my Olympics and things like that, I did take some steps at the club that I was doing my training at for the Olympics and everything. I did help some of the other disability people and help them as well and give them ideas and try and encourage them as well. So I did do bits in between, but the reason I never went down that route is because I always kept on saying it wasn't for me because of how I got treated.
Yeah, but you say that, but you got medals, Susan. It's like a duck to water. You've got a natural talent there. Not everybody can do that. I can't swim. I can do a little bit, but it's more doggy paddle than anything. My kids are really good at swimming because of grandpa. So grandpa's taught my kids to swim, but it's one of the most it can save lives. Swimming can save lives. It's an amazing skill set to have.
I
So,
mean to say, when I walk along beach walks and things like that, if I was to see somebody in trouble in the water, I would go and do the best I could to save them and help them if I seen somebody in trouble in the water.
well, if I'm ever in trouble in the water, it better be up in Scotland near you then, so I can get saved.
But
Because
as I
I'll be
say,
gone.
that's kind of what I do. If I see things, I'll kind of walk down. If I see somebody in a bit of trouble near the water, I'll shout over to them, are they okay? If not, I'll say, do you want me to get help or anything? And they're going, yes, please. Sometimes I've walked towards them and got them out myself. Sometimes I've had to go away and try and find somebody else to help me do it. But most of the time, it's a case of I just walk past it and going, he's okay. Sometimes they'll put their thumb up as if to say they're fine. It's
Yeah.
just what they're doing. But I always check. I'm like, I'll
Oh,
either
fair
get
play to
told
you.
yes or told no. But at least I could say I checked before I walked on.
Yeah. Right, so the music side of things, we've already touched a little bit on music. When you was in these sort of stages coming home and you're feeling rubbish about yourself, what was your favourite? I know you spoke about rock. When you was being bullied at that sort of age, what was the type of music? Was it fast or was it rock again? Or what kind of
It
other
was
dramas were it?
basically, believe it or not, the music I actually listened to quite a lot on my own, basically, that helped me. It was mainly with the words of the songs, was basically from
Yeah, yeah.
the Verve, Stereophonics,
Nice.
and also a bit of Keen and Coldplay.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
kind of music, when I listened to it, it was always the words and the songs I could always say related to me. And then I also spent when I think it was in the late 90s, early 2000s, when Savage Gardens were on the go, I actually listened to a lot of them because the words of the music, of the songs and the lyrics basically symbolised and touched a lot of me, of how I felt when I was growing up.
Yeah, they help a lot, don't they, songs? They carry a lot of emotion with them. They can
And
make you
then
feel
I
sad
kind
or
of
happy.
got myself into. Everybody said when I was dancing, I was stupid, I was daft, and I didn't look like I could dance. And then I kind of got away and put myself when the line dancing came on the go and got myself into the line dancing.
Nice.
So I
Yeah,
kind of enjoyed the line dancing where it was a case of you stood in a hall with loads of other girls laughing and joking, having a bit of fun. It was a case of you did some dance moves, whatever the teacher was telling you to do, teaching you to do. If you made a mistake, you made a mistake, but it was always a laugh. But you were gaining a bit of confidence in yourself. You were also learning how to basically do something, and at the same time keeping fit because the class started as a way of being fitness back
yeah, it's got a
then.
friendship about it as well, isn't it? You've got that
Mhm.
you
You
know,
met
the
some people,
yeah,
some of them you spoke away to, some of them you spoke to regular and you knew who they were, and then the next time some of them you didn't.
yeah, but at the same time though, Susan, there's no wrong with dancing madly in a club. It doesn't matter. As long as you're having fun and enjoying it, it doesn't matter what the other people think.
Aye. But
You do what
back
you want
then
to do
I
as long
just
as
did it.
you're happy. Yeah. I mean, I've found that in life. A lot of people say stuff about me most of the time, and I just like, mate, I couldn't care.
And
I'm
then
being me. If
kind
you
of
don't
as I got
like it, move
older,
on.
aye, but as I kind of got older, it was a case of I went out quite a few times, got involved with a couple of girls that I knew that liked the same style of music. We drank the same thing. We kind of always met up. They came on their own, I came on my own, but we always met up together at some point through the night and finished the night off together. And it was just like, they had the same thing. I don't care. We were being daft. We were drinking. We were
Yeah, you're
having
being
a laugh.
yourselves,
It was just
having
a case of
fun.
let your hair down. It's the
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah. No need to be snobbery about it. Have fun.
And
You only
then the
live
funnest
once.
part was always when you went on the dance floor, you got some daft guys that were either drunk, that were either up for a dare, or one of their pals said, I dare you to go over there and ask that girl for a dance, I dare you to go and ask that girl for a kiss or something, or ask her if she wanted a drink. And the chat up lines, some of them were, you're like, seriously, you're not impressing me at all. It
What's the
was the
what,
case of,
what?
if this is what you do to get a hold of a girl, this is what you do to get a hold of a girl, I'm afraid it's not going to work on me. There's the
What?
door, go out it and don't let it hit you on the way out.
Do you remember any of these cheesy chat up lines at all?
Some of them was, so do you come here often? So how do I get closer to you? How do I get closer to you? Or it was like, you up for a bit of old hanky panky?
How's
Or
your
would you
father?
like to come? The best one ever was, fancy coming back to my place for a coffee? And
Oh,
this was before they even said, my name's Stephen or my name's Chris or whatever. This was before they
yeah.
actually introduced themselves. It was just a case of walk up, dink, give you a little dunch when you were dancing, or they get away up behind you and slapped you on the butt, basically. And I was like, my God, I wish it was a better looking wine. I'm thinking, you don't impress me. I used to stand there and think to myself, nah. I said, you've got one chance and that's no chance. Bye. Sometimes I even left the dance floor and said to my friend, I've got to go to the toilet, or I went away back up to the bar. I says, I need a drink.
When I was younger, I used to use this one chat up line, and it worked weirdly. It was a weird one. It was, do you believe in love at first sight, or shall I walk past you again?
That's actually quite a nice one. I would have liked to hear something like that compared to
Yeah,
some of the stuff that I'd heard. That
my
would have been a
son,
better chat up line.
my son told me one the other day. It was because obviously Valentine's has just been, and he was doing something, and he says, "If you was the alphabet, I'll put you and I together." And I thought, Jay, that's so
That's
cheesy.
actually quite sweet.
It's cute. It's
It's
cute.
cute and
Yeah,
sweet.
but to
One
slap
day,
some girl's arse.
I think your son will get himself a woman if he uses that chat up line. I think he'll get a girl
Yeah.
at one point.
Oh, he's adorable little lad. He's quite popular with that with the opposite sex, shall we say?
Aye.
But yeah, slapping girls' asses and all that. It's a bit only fools and horses, isn't it? Fancy a curry slap?
Aye. It's like, fancy a curry and stuff like that. Are you coming with me?
Yeah,
And I used to
yeah,
think, is that the best you've gotten? I remember the chat up line I always used to use on one or two of the guys that I know. But it wasn't very often I really had to have a lot of drink in me. It was usually, oh, that's a lovely smell you've got on. Is it Duke by any chance?
9 times out of 10 it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, most of the time, and the guys used to always say, how did you know? I says, once you get hooked on an aftershave that you love the smell of on guys, you can never miss it. They could
Yeah,
walk past you and go, he's got dupe on. And then
yeah,
there was once the boy says, he came in the following week, it was the same guy, he came into the pub one day, and he actually says, came up behind me, I didn't recognise him, but it was because he changed his hairstyle. So when I looked at him, he's going, hello, do you remember me? I've got dupe on tonight again. He says, let me buy you a drink. And I says, oh, thank you.
fair play to it.
Uh,
It's nice to see that. See, you have got these nice memories inside as well from all of that horribleness that you've gone through, and it shows people as well that's perhaps listening to this that have gone through similar things that there are moments in life where that will be a distant memory as well. It'll always be there,
yeah. It's
but
always there. It's always there. I can remember it vaguely, but it's distant.
yeah, it's distant. You've grown up from all that silliness and them idiots back then. Um,
But
you've
as
gone
I've
on to
grown
get
up,
your
I kind of got involved with a guy. That guy was kind of, let's just say, cheated. He was a cheat. So I got
Right.
rid of him. He knocked me back, and then my mental health went downhill again.
So, where are you currently at the moment with your mental health?
My mental health currently is basically, I'm still going through a lot of suicidal thoughts. I'm still keeping myself to myself and locking myself away.
Right.
And I tend to listen and talk to more people and advise them than focusing on my own health, because I think it was a lot to do with, as I gotten older, when I was in 2011, I actually got married. I got
Congratulations.
married, and by 2016, mental health, bullying, and everything that he did to me
Oh,
mentally
right.
really buggered me up. But because I was working every day, most days, I didn't have any time to think. It was, I got up in the morning, I got up at 4 in the morning, I was at my work from 6 till 2, 3. I came home, my husband at the time was basically an epileptic sufferer, so I was dealing with epilepsy as well. So I was dealing with that. Then it was a case of I went to my bed, woke up, repeat. So my mental health back then, there was loads wrong in my head, but I ignored it all because I was focusing on work. Got up, I didn't think about it because I was thinking about work, work, and work. I wasn't giving myself no time home, feed husband, do the washing, do the laundry, shower change, get my work clothes ready for the morning, back out the door again.
Yeah.
So my mind didn't. And by 2016, he got to the stage and really fucked up my head by basically calling me names and things like that. And I
So
broke
bringing back
down.
memories then.
Yeah, it broke down. I broke down, and it really made me struggle. That was when it all started flooding with my mental health. I took an overdose in front of him. I did heaps of things in front of him, and he laughed at me when I did it, which, when he did it, made me want to go and do more of it, made me want to do it more. And then I kind of thought, no, go to the doctor. So when I went to a doctor actually spoke to me about it, referred me onto a waiting list, and got me seen by a psychologist. And basically, he referred me to a few groups, like what was it? I think it was like a organisation that's up where I live, and it was for people with mental health and things that I needed to try and do. I'd also put myself through and ended up in hospital a couple of times because of him, all because of this. And then by 2020, he died. He died, but I had left him in 2017. But by 2020, he'd passed away because he took an epileptic seizure, I think, during his sleep. But when he died, he left one thing on his will. He didn't want me at the funeral, so I didn't get to say my goodbyes to him. So technically, you could say I'm still I've still got no closure from him because I never
Seems,
got to
yeah.
say goodbye. But then a friend came along that he knew, that he introduced me to. But funnily enough, this guy that I got introduced to by him
Mm.
is actually a guy that did the DJing in the place where I used to go to every weekend, and I actually liked this guy,
Oh,
but
right.
didn't have the guts to actually go and say anything to him.
And did you in the end? Have you spoke to him
In
now?
the end, basically, since my husband passed away, we've kept in touch. We've actually spoke regular.
And how did it make you feel when you found out that you weren't allowed to say your
I was
goodbyes?
I was mad. I was mad because I was married to him legally. I was still his wife. We were just separated, but it made it so hard after everything I'd done for him. and being there for him, I honestly felt used. I felt
Yeah.
used. I honestly felt like I was just there to look after him, do this, do that. And I honestly felt used when he said to me, I wasn't allowed to go. I got told by the people that informed me that he'd passed away, I wasn't allowed to go to his funeral. I felt used. I thought I was his husband. I was with him from like 2008, 2008. And the fact that I never got to go to the funeral, it made me feel really, really down and depressed. Since then, I haven't been able to gain myself, shift myself up and I find it harder and harder to talk to people because what I'm telling them, I know they're not keeping it to themselves. I know they're going away and telling other people, which kind of puts me really down. So when everybody says, talk to me, phone me, I'm like, I can't. I just can't do it. So I've relied on a lot of using helplines over here, or there's groups on Facebook that I've kind of done, and I've kind of put something up on their groups and said, feeling a little bit low, miffed and low. I says, is there anybody out there that's in the same predicament that fancies a quick chat? And tried to see, hey, how you doing, blah, blah, speak to them and go, right, so what's your story? But then the thing I always get told by them is, you listen more and help others, but when somebody tries to do it for you, you can't allow it. And I says, because of everything, when I was trying to talk, I says, I'm like gotten into a stage where I know I talk to people and the kind of listen, but the thing that puts me off talking to them is, oh, get over it, forget it, just get over it. That is the worst thing I find you can ever do to someone and say to someone with mental health, regardless what kind of mental health it is. Just get over it, forget it. It's not a nice thing to hear from people.
No,
That's my personal opinion.
it's
Whether
mine as well.
that works for everybody else, but in my opinion, going about saying to someone, get over it, or just forget it.
You can't just forget it. You can't get
You
over it. It's
can't.
locked in your head. It's called a lived experience. If someone
It's
hasn't lived the
always
same
going to be there.
experience, this is it. If someone hasn't gone through what you've gone through, they're never going to relate to you, Susan. They're never going to understand you fully until they've gone through it themselves. You
It's
know?
like when you go and you phone up people, there's some like you can phone up the Samaritans and things like that. When you phone them up, yes, I know they're there listening. Yes, I know they're there to help you. But all you ever hear them saying is, okay, I understand, I do understand. But I'm sitting there going, in the back of my head, I'm going, you don't understand unless you've actually experienced it, had it
Yep.
done to yourself, or been in that predicament. You haven't got a clue. Going away and just saying to someone, it's okay, it's fine, it's fine, it's okay. To me, that's like telling me, hurry up, get off the phone, I don't want to listen to you.
Yeah, and actually, you shouldn't be feeling that way. Me and a
That's the
friend
way
was
I see
speaking
it.
about this the other day. Me and my friend were speaking about this the other day because we've got another friend that I talk to. We're like in this little trio. We have like a con call, if you like, where three of us are on the same phone call, and my friends are asking me, "How you doing today, Jermaine?" Because I have ups and downs, you know. And my other mate, he don't understand. He's just like, "Oh, mate, no," and he'll try and be diplomatic about it and stuff like this. And I'm just like, inside, I'm screaming, like, "You don't have a fucking clue, mate. You don't understand because you've been brought up in this nice, pretty house with both parents, with hot meals. You've never received racism or bullying in your life. You've had it nice. You don't relate to what I'm saying, so you've never felt the pain that I've been in. Therefore, you can't relate to what I'm saying. So we're on different wavelengths. Whereas my other friend that I speak to on the same call has gone through the exact same thing. And we relate. We understand. We're at this point now when no one's going to really mess around with us anymore. We're not going to take it anymore. Both of us. We both put our foots down and said, anybody tries to gossip about us, anybody tries to put anything or say anything about us, we're going to call them out on the BS. We're just going to tell them, you what, and face them. Because I think it's the only way to really try and stop what's going on around us. If you know what I mean.
I know what you
If you
mean.
haven't lived it, don't speak about it. I mean, there's things that you've said that you've gone through. I can't speak about because I don't. I honestly and truly haven't gone through that myself, so I can't. I can empathise with you.
Uh-huh.
I can feel your pain, but I can't fully get with you on that because I wasn't there. So I would never say anything, derogative or negative towards you because of what you felt. I'd never say get over it because I think that's just like, hold up, that poor woman's been through things
Yeah.
that you've not. So
It's trying to, that's the hardest thing, regardless if I go and speak to anybody professional or anything, when they come out with stuff like, or I understand, I know what you're talking about, or try not to think about it, try not to let it get to you. I'm thinking, but it's always been there. That's what I can't shift. They're going, the only person that can shift it is you, apparently. But I'm going, trying and trying. It's not easy to do.
no, it's not. You've got to
And
face some
trying to speak
skeletons.
to people, my opinion is, if you're going to try and speak to someone and they say to you, listen to me, you expect them to give you their 100% attention, eye contact, and you're actually looking at them. You're not sitting with a mobile phone or on a computer game or playing, which is what my husband used to do when I was wanting to talk to him. Anytime I wanted to talk to him, he was always either gaming on his mobile phone or doing something. So when I was trying to talk to him, you used to hear from him. He was talking to people online and that, but all he kept on saying to you was, I'm listening, I'm listening. But he wasn't.
No,
You weren't
and there's you
listening.
inside screaming.
You wouldn't have your game console on, and you wouldn't be on your mobile phone. Your phone would be down. Your console would be on silent or mute for a few seconds until, and you would be giving them eye contact. At least when I sit and talk to someone, I'll give them eye contact. But if I don't know what to say, I'll still nod my head or go, what else, to try and see if it'll help them open up a bit more, or basically, but I'll still, even though I don't understand fully what's wrong, I'll still try my best to
Yeah,
listen
because you
and
want
help
to know that you're there. I mean, the minute we started talking on here, my phone's off. It's on aeroplane mode because I don't need no distractions. I'm
them.
speaking with you, and I want to hear what you've got to say. Like I say, there's things that you've gone through that I've not experienced, but I'm not going to tell you it's easy. I'm not going to tell you it's not that bad. What I will do is I'll praise you for what you have done and for where you are. I'll praise you for still being here and for not giving anybody the power for you to take your own life. I'm proud that you're sat here now because we was speaking before Christmas and I know how down and sad you were and I still remember that.
uh,
As a person that listens, I remember everything we spoke about.
I
You know,
appreciate that. Thank
I've
you.
never met you, but we speak and I remember and I could tell you about every guest I've had on here because I remember every one of their stories because I listen to what they say. I've spoken to Samaritans before and I found it difficult with the Samaritans. So I do understand what you're saying with that one. It's almost like I might as well put the phone down because these don't care.
That's
But
what
they
I'm
do
like
help
when
some
I phone
people.
them.
Yeah, the Samaritans are good. They are there for some people and it can help some people. You've got Shout, who you can text. That was a really good one. I used Shout before when I
Mm-hmm.
was feeling desperate for some help. Um, but then what's helped me is I've kept myself really busy, Susan. A little bit like what you were doing when you was living with your husband and you was getting up at 4 o'clock, getting dressed, and it was the same mundane sort of life. That's what that I was stuck in. So I had to change something. And what you've said today about the swimming, I think you should make time for that swimming. I
Well,
think
I
you
do
should get
make
back
time,
into it. Yeah,
but I
but can
do
you do
make
it
time for
more?
swimming.
Is there anything else that you're really interested that you've always been scared to
Well,
do?
another thing that there's another two things that I've actually got involved in doing over the past few years. I actually went away and joined a walking group, but I also,
Brilliant.
which is a walking group where you go away and walk around places. You get 1 day a week, but it's all people that's like similar to yourself, maybe don't get out enough, they don't get much companionship, or they don't get like social time. So
Yeah,
there's a walking group. But while I was in the walking group, I also went away and did the training to become a leader, so I can actually do walking groups myself now as a leader,
brilliant.
to help people with that. Then I also went on the verge of doing the same, but you do beach cleanups and things like that, and
Yeah.
countryside cleanups. I actually got away and did the training for that as well, so I can actually do that as well. And it's the way I've done it is, I haven't done much of it yet, but the main reason for me to do it is to try and encourage more people that have mental health issues,
Yeah.
or anxiety, just to get them out, even if it means for an hour, one day a
Yeah.
week. Get them out, just try and and then realise that the people that are going to be there, they might either become friends with them, they might either get social out of it, help, and basically it'll hopefully connect them, and then they maybe won't feel so alone when it comes to doing things on their own, as opposed to sitting in the house being, because it's not an easy thing to do, sitting in an empty
No.
house with nobody else there, and you're so lonely, you've got anxiety shooting up and down, and you don't know what or how to say anything.
No, I know. I understand that one. That was my mum. It's my mum at the minute. That's what she does because stepdad's always at work, so she's there. All the kids have moved out, obviously, and she's in that period now where she's like, I've got no one around me.
There's nobody
Yep.
there, there's nothing you
Mm.
can actually do, and you're sitting there. So I thought, this is something else I can do. But also, at the same time, went away and did one for dolphin watching. So I actually go out and do recordings, sightings and things like that for the dolphins and the whales conservation, and hand it back to all the information up to the Moray Firth, which is where all the dolphins and that are currently being recorded and everything from, to keep up to
Yeah.
date. So I'm doing a few things for myself, but I'm also trying to do things that's going to encourage people. Like, if you've got mental health, try this. One day a week might help you, and try and see if I can encourage people to do that. Because, as I said to you previously, there's not much things. There's a lot of people waiting for support and help, and because they've either got long waiting lists, or they haven't got they can't really get out and do anything, and they're still waiting, and before long they get really down because they've got nobody to talk to. So I'm thinking,
Yeah.
if I have like walking groups, it's exercise, but it's not physical exercise. All we're asking you to do is just walk. We're not running, we're not walking fast, we're just strolling. It could be in the countryside, could be in a park, or it could be in an area where there's a bit of history, and we could sit and talk about the history, stand and talk
Yeah.
about history while we're doing it.
No, it's lovely. I've just got into walking. I was at the Lake Districts not long ago. Put a picture up on the thing. I did quite a few pictures.
I remember I seen them,
Peak
they're quite good.
District. Yeah, I've got some lovely photos from the lake. So I'm going Peak District next month. I'm really getting into my walking. I find it really helps your mental health because you get to breathe, you get to see the beautiful places, and you're away from that bustling city life as well. Because I
Well,
think
it's the
that
way
that
I look
causes
at it.
headaches.
You're going out, you're getting into the country life, all you hear is the sea, the birds, the
Yeah,
animals, and the nature around you, and you never know what you're going to see. There's some lovely nature out wherever you live. You never know what you're going to see without looking. You're not going to see it sitting in a house, but if you watch it on the TV programmes like the David Attenborough
yeah.
documentaries and things like that, you see it there. It looks lovely and spectacular, but it's nothing better than actually seeing it in person.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I saw my first night sky in the lakes as well. We got out of the car in this really dark lane, and I looked up. My friend said, "Look up, Jermaine," and I looked up, and I saw the Milky Way with my visible with my own eye, and I was like, "This is so dark," but it was scary. I was out my comfort zone, but I
But it was
jumped at it.
brilliant to look
It
at.
was so worth it because it was so dark out there. I thought there could be wild cats or anything. I could get eaten alive, but I thought no, enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment. You're going to be back at home soon, back at the same old job, working again. Enjoy the moment instead of like you were saying with your husband on his phone and on the console. Put that stuff down and really invest in the people that are around you as well.
Yeah, but
Um,
that's what I did. He was always into his gaming, so when I was at home with him, I didn't feel like he was paying any attention to me. I was sitting there always saying to myself, am I here? Am I invisible? What's the
mm,
point of me being here?
it's like being his mother.
It
So
felt like that because it was a case of you were cooking, cleaning, taking
yeah,
care of him. Yes, he did some things for himself, but it was a case of, it was a routine you got into. Once your body gets into a certain routine, it's a case of You're doing it every day.
Yeah.
So you're you can't stop. You don't think, you're not giving yourself any time. But when I was sitting down there, people used to always say, "Did you ever sit there and just give yourself you time?" And I was like, "Not really," because I was always working, busy, busy. By the time I thought about it, it was, "Oh, it must be bedtime. I better go to bed. Now I'll speak to you when I get home tomorrow, or I'll speak to you when I see you." That was always a case of, in a case I fall asleep, and then you had to get up in the morning, go out, repeat, repeat, repeat. So you had no time to really think or do anything. And then before long, everything that was in my mind, I knew there was something wrong, but it just all kept building and building and building. And then one day exploded. And I
Yeah,
thought, I need to go to a
because you
doctor.
kept it locked in. You
And
keep
then
something
I
locked in.
kept it
It's like a
locked in.
kettle, isn't it? Yeah, it's like a
And then I
kettle.
kind of said to myself, I have to get out of this. I have to do this now. And then that's when I made the decision, go up to the local council, speak to the council, and get the council to get me out of there as quick as I could.
Yeah, you've got to speak out, Susan. Be as loud as you can. Whatever's going on inside your head, don't hold it inside your head. Let it out. Speak to people. Um, I understand what you're saying with trust. You've had your trust knocked back most of your life with what you've gone through, so you don't speak to some people about things because you know it'll be gossiped or spoke about rather than being supportive and loving around you. But there is some people out there that will actually listen and will talk to you. I understand it's hard finding those right people, but what you're doing as well is getting out there and doing these walks and also the beach cleanups, the dolphins and stuff like that. You're actually helping other people as well. So that's another courageous thing. So you've got the medals, you've got this, you're a very helpful person, you're very loving, you've got a big warm heart. You're not thinking about yourself all the time, which you need to. You've got to put yourself first in everything that you because we've got to think about if you're not well, how can you help somebody else?
That's what I always keep saying to people. I keep saying, try not to overthink, because if you overthink, you'll make yourself ill. And if you're ill, you won't be able to go out and work. You won't be able to do this. This is so. Focus on
Yeah.
yourself, even if it means giving 5 minutes a day. That's what I keep saying to people now. If they say to me, I says, I didn't manage to do this, but try do this if you can't. Make 5 minutes for yourself, even if it just means sitting in an empty room.
And you've got
Focus.
to do that as well, Susan. You've got to do that.
I do try and do it more now. I'd say I do it a bit more than what I used to do, but I would say it's still not always there. It's still a case of somebody messages me, "Hey, I feel a little bit low today," and I'm like, "Okay, what's wrong? Have you tried this? Have you tried that?" And then I'm always trying to advise them, and then they're saying, "Oh, by the way, how are you?" And I'm like, "I'm fine, but we're not here to talk about me. We're here to speak. I'm here to listen to what you
But
did. You called me because you wanted to have someone to chat to, so let's speak about you."
here's
That's what
another
I do.
thing then. Here's another way around it. If someone does text you or ring you up and they're feeling a bit low, why don't you say, be ready in 5 minutes. I'm coming round. We're going to go to the cafe for a coffee.
But I've
Because
done
once
that a few
yeah,
times.
that I think that works quite a lot because then you can both be out, you can both be chatting and have fun. Make it fun. Do things silly. And before you know it, it stops because I know what it's like when you overthink. It's in your head constantly and you can't shift that voice and it's telling you you're worthless and no one loves you, no one cares.
I hear that all the time.
Yeah,
There's some nights I'll be in my bed, lying there sleeping, and I'll hear in the back of my head going, "You're just worthless, you're useless, just, you'd be better off not being here," etc., etc. And then I'm getting up, I go to the kitchen, drink some water, come out the kitchen, and I'm like, "No, what?" And then I'm sitting there, there's the kitchen utensils, I'm sitting there going, I could, but then I look back, I look behind me and find my cats, and I'm like, no, my cats need me. I'll use the treadmill because I put the music on, turn on the treadmill, and just go, because I can go distance. I'm away in a distance, not thinking about anybody else, not caring who's round me. And then sometimes after that, I think, right, I've got to do some cardio. So you go away and do some cardio, and then usually before it, I'll go up and get a hold of go up and use the punch bag, do some tactics on the punch bag. But
good.
when I've done it, I feel good for doing it, because I'm
Y-
like, whatever stress was building up in my head, I've knocked it out like by just that run on the
exactly.
treadmill, cardio, and the punch bag.
You've proved that voice wrong straight there and then. You've proved the bullies wrong all your life. You got your medals. You're doing everything you can now. Yes, you had a little bit of problems in your last marriage kind of thing where you felt worthless, but you're still here fighting today. You've
I
been knocked
still
back
try my
so many
best.
times, and yet you're still here to have that strength.
Some days I wake up and say to myself, I'm still here. Okay. Oh well, what's the day going to bring me? And then I go bed, do my usual morning stuff, feed the cats, etc., make myself my breakfast, sit down, have some breakfast, and then I'm thinking, look outside, I'm thinking, oh, it's dry, okay, let's go for a walk, or let's do this. If not, if it's pouring down the rain, I tend to sit and do a lot of crochet, because when I'm doing crochet, I'm thinking about 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever
Yeah,
in my head. I'm always focusing and counting. And then before I realise, I look at the clock. I've lost about 2 hours. So
yeah.
I've kept myself busy, my mind busy with the crochet.
If it is raining as well, go out. Go out and enjoy that. See the world when it's wet. I love taking my camera out when it's raining because it's so dramatic. It's so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. It's different. You've got the fog coming down and stuff like that. And what I will say is the mindset. The mind is so strong. If you put your mind onto something negative, that negative feeling will consume you all day. Um, the proof. I was going somewhere the other week, and I says to my mate, "These are going to turn me away." I was doing a delivery up in Darlington. These are going to turn me away. They always turn me away. And my mate on the phone at the time says, "Don't think like that. Just go in there. That they're going to let you on. They're going to put you on the bay." I went, "It ain't going to work." I actually went in there. I went to the security guard. He went, "Yeah, go on bay 12, mate." I went, "What?" I said, "You're having a laugh." And all it was just down to the fact that I changed my mindset. And I do find that negativity will breed negativity. But if you put a bit of positivity out there, it'll come back twice. So now I try and walk around. I'll say to any stranger, "How you doing, mate? You all right?" Any female, "You're all right." If I see a woman walking on the street, across the road to make her feel more safe. And just little things like that, it comes back and you end up having a great day. So if I ever have a sad day, I try and smile at myself in the mirror as well. I find that helps. So if you ever get a chance to, look in the mirror and smile because you're you. There's nobody else in the world like you. You're the only one that's like you. And just know all them things that you're doing well in life, all those people that you inspire when you speak to these on these walks, all these people that you're getting out of the house, they could be sat in their house now doing nothing. "Oh no, I'm going on a walk today with Susan. What can we learn today? What are we going to see today in this beautiful world?" 'Cause
Sometimes we'll go out, we'll sit there and look, and then we'll think what we're going to see. And then sometimes we'll walk along, and then either myself or somebody else will find an unusual building, and we're like, oh, I wonder what the history is from this. Well, either one of us will take our phone out and have a look and see what to do, or else somebody that's on the group will probably turn around and say, oh, the history behind this building is this and that. And you're going, no, I wouldn't have known that. I didn't know anything about that
there you
until it was
go. So
taught
you
to me.
learn.
You
Yeah, you're
learn, and
learning
it's
as
when,
well.
but it's stuff you kind, and then plus it's takes just an hour one day a week, and it's a case of get you out the house, even if it means just walking around a park. But it's still giving you something. It's giving you a little bit of exercise, but it's also you're in the same you're with the people that's got maybe not the same issues as you, but similar. So it's like makes you feel a little bit more less anxious, because you think to yourself, well, everybody here's got some kind of mental health, which is
Yeah.
round about the same what you're going through. So it doesn't make you feel bad. Whereas I found when you were trying to do things and it was in different groups and it had nothing to do with mental health, you thought, what are they going to be thinking about me? What are they going to be saying about me when I walk away?
They're not saying nothing.
But that's what was going through my head.
It
That's
does.
why I said, at least because I was going through a walk, going through a group that had similar issues as myself, at least it was a case. Sometimes if they used to say, how's your week been? Oh, it's been okay. What have you been doing? Vice versa. And then it
Yeah.
was kind of giving them a bit of a boost because they were getting to speak and let things up, get things off their chest in
Yeah.
case they had issues.
Yeah. And that's what it's about. But yeah, I find that hard. I always think people are speaking bad about me, but the reality is everyone's busy with their own lives. They haven't got time.
Yeah.
A lot of people will put online on Facebook. They'll show this fake world. It's not the real life. Not everybody's happy. Happy is very hard to be, but you can make the world happy around you by doing nice things to people, because then you do get it back. I find you have a much happier day.
Yeah, I
Um,
find if you just find a minute, even if it means hello, I might say there's people online that I know, I maybe haven't heard from them for a few days, I haven't put nothing on Facebook or posted. I'm always messaging them on Messenger.
yeah,
Hello, how you doing? Are you okay? And
yeah,
they
reaching
go,
out. Yeah,
I'm fine, thank you. They go, I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for checking on me.
yeah,
It
and that's
makes me
it.
feel good. I might
But it
say,
makes
at
you
least
feel
you
good
know.
as well.
Mhm. You let me know, but then at least I can know I wouldn't want somebody to be sitting in a house on their own and really feeling down, knowing full well that likes of myself or there's other people nearby that could have just messaged on the sly to talk to. Because the way I've always seen it is what they say to me, I don't put out, vice versa.
No, it's confidential, isn't it? At
It's
the end
just
of
a
the day,
case
unless
of
they, unless
open up.
unless you're in a danger or someone's in danger, then obviously you need to let the authorities know. Look, I'm worried about this person. They're talking about X, Y, and Z.
Uh huh.
But if it's not, if no one's in any danger, it's not causing anybody any harm, then no,
Well, there
you
was
don't
a
need to
friend.
speak about it. Yeah,
Mhm. There was a
it's
guy I remember. He phoned me. He phoned me up one day. This was going back a good few years ago, and he went away and said he was feeling really down. He showed me something, and I didn't like the look of it, so I took it upon myself when I got off the phone to go away and ask for someone to go around his house and check, just to check he was okay.
there you go. See,
And then it turned out that they said would rather you get away and spoke to someone, or yeah, what was it? Went away and stopped over at a friend or a family member's house for a day
yeah,
just to reassure us. But then when I got a phone call the next day, she said to me, "Thank you very much for doing that. You shouldn't have done it. I didn't want you to do it." She says, "But thank you anyway."
yeah, you're a superhero. You're a
But it was a
superhero.
case, nah, it was just a case of I try, I listen. There's people that come up. I don't feel well today. I feel really low today. I'll message them on the private and say to them, "What's bothering you today? Is there anything I can help you with, even if it means you just offloading, shouting over the phone, if
Yeah,
you know what I mean?" Because
yeah,
sometimes it can do you good. Sometimes that's all it takes is just to hear somebody, know there's somebody listening, or even just to hear, "Are you okay? You can talk to me."
yeah.
So I think it's reassuring to know that that's there, because there's a lot of people don't get that sort of help, don't have that.
Well, I don't. A lot of people don't think it's there neither. A lot of people don't think you're never alone. There's always somebody that is willing to help.
It's just
I've said it.
reaching out. It's just
Yeah.
reaching out to get the help.
Well, I'm always here for you, Susan. If you ever need me, we're always there. I know sometimes I'm not the quickest at replying at certain things, but that's my life. It's a bit busy and hectic because I
No,
don't
I
just,
know your life's busy and hectic, but that's
yeah,
another thing. People say to me all the time, "If you need me, call me." But the first thing I've always got an instance is, you've got family, you've got jobs, you've got life.
doesn't matter.
You're not going to. I don't like being a burden. I always see myself as a burden to people. That's why when people say to me, "You can't talk to me," I says, "Well, I feel like a burden, hence why I don't."
Yeah,
Because I'm
don't
thinking,
think
I
like that.
take into consideration they've got family, they've got kids, they're maybe working, they maybe don't have much alone time to themselves. So
Well,
you're like, the last thing they're going to be wanting is to listen to me ramble on.
all right, remember this then. I've got kids. I've got a missus. I've got a job.
Uh huh.
If it means taking a phone call to save your life, my kids are still here. They're still going to be Mardy in the background and fighting.
Uh huh.
But me taking a phone call with you to stop you from doing something daft, that phone call is worth every single second.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much,
And I
Jeremy.
want you to think about that with everybody. I also think I'm a burden to my friends. They have to fight me to get what's off my chest because they'll say, "What's up with you?" Nothing. Because
That's what
I
I
also
like.
think that,
People will say, "Are you okay?" I'm fine.
yeah, I'm fine. Nothing's wrong with
But
me.
I'm not. I'm not. But I'm
Yeah.
sitting there going, I don't. But then it's different if they come round to my house and come round for coffee, or come round just to see me in general, or to see my cats. It's a
Yeah.
case of they're going, "What's wrong with you? Tell me. I can tell just by looking at you. You're not yourself. Come on,
Yeah.
out with it."
And they're good people. They're good people, Susan. But yeah, anybody that sells you that, don't ever think about the families. Our families are always going to be here. They're always going to be in the background causing problems, right? That's what the family is. But
Aye,
if it means saving a life, I'll take the phone call any time of day. You've got me on Messenger. You can call me on Messenger if you ever needed to. You ever needed to reach out, I'm here. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what I'm doing.
but that's the
You know.
way I always look at it. I appreciate things. People say that to me all the time. I hear it quite a lot, but that's the way I've always looked at it. I think it's, as I said, it had a lot to do with how I got, how I grew up. I got bullied and things like that, and finding it hard to trust, open up, and speak to people. I've always
Well,
shut it in. I've always shut it in. It's what I've always done.
I think you're perfect. I think you're very courageous. I think you've proved a lot of people wrong in this world about yourself. Um, I've absolutely enjoyed speaking with you.
Thank you. I've
Um,
enjoyed listening to you.
you look like someone that I know, and I'm trying to think of her name, and I can't think it. She played. Have you ever watched Saving Mr. Banks?
Yes, I have seen it.
She plays the woman that was Mary Poppins. She wrote the book to Mary Poppins,
Yeah,
and
I
I
know the
forget
one you're
her
talking
name.
about.
What's her name? What is her name?
I'm
Because
trying
I
to remember. It's when you know it, but you can't think of it. You can't
yeah
think of it, but I know who you're talking about.
yeah she's in quite a lot of films. She played as Nanny McPhee as well.
Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson. That's who you
Emma
remind me of.
Thompson.
Yeah, amazing. Right, that brings us to the end of the episode, Susan. It's been amazing having you on. Been amazing talking to you.
Thank you.
I just can't believe what you've gone through and the
I just
silver
hope it helps
medals.
someone. I just hope it
Yeah,
helps and
it will do
motivates
because there'll be
people.
somebody else out there that's gone through the same and that feels like they're a burden, perhaps feels like they don't want to talk out about things, perhaps sitting in their room right now, suffering in silence, don't want to talk about it. Look what Susan done, guys. She's gone out there and she smashed it. She's absolutely smashed it. She's doing walking groups now. If you want to reach out to her on Facebook, you're Susan Day, isn't it? On
Yeah,
Facebook.
Susan Day. Yeah.
And if you are local, see if you want to go out on one of those walks. If anybody out there listening, if you're younger, if you've got a granddad or grandma that you feel like they might have lost somebody, they're on their own. If they want to go out for a walk with Susan and the team, get in touch. Go out, go and see the world. You're not alone in any of this. And like we always say, I know it sounds cheesy to some, but it's the name of the podcast. You're still worth the journey. Still
Nah,
go for it. You're worth every day. Every day you wake up is a blessing. Even if you think it's the worst day in the world, it's thundering, it's raining, and there's fires going off everywhere. Just think to yourself, I'm witnessing it. I'm living this moment right now, kind of thing. Susie, it's been an absolute pleasure.
thank you. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I just hope that some of the issues that I've had will help others and help them reach out for some help and advice as well.
Yeah. And if anybody did want to reach out, obviously there is Samaritans who were spoken about today. There is Shout. If you go on Google, you type in your local mental health help. There's quite a lot. There's a lot
There's
of places as
one.
well that are anonymous.
There's one up in Scotland, and it's called Breathing Space. That's quite a good one for anybody up in Scotland that needs to reach out for help. It's part of it's an organisation linked to the NHS, so it's kind of, I've
Oh,
used it quite
wicked.
a few
You
times.
have to
It's
be
quite,
referred for that, or can you self-refer yourself?
no, you just look online, the numbers and everything should be online for it. You can
Brilliant.
chat to them online, or you can basically chat to them online, or there's a phone number on the website. It's just called Breathing Space.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll put that in the description of today's podcast. If anybody did want to see all the correct information, if they can't find it anywhere, we'll find it. We'll put it on the description of this podcast so you
Yeah,
can go and research that yourself.
quite
So,
handy. It's just like a phone number you call up. It's a bit like the Samaritans. You talk to them, but it's also linked to the NHS, so it can kind of, if they think there's something out of sorts, they'll
yeah,
contact the appropriate people to get
you might
help. Because
even
I did it
pass it on
once,
to your
I've done it a
GP.
few times, even if it just means talking to them for 5, 10 minutes. Sometimes it's helped.
Yeah. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for this particular episode. If you feel like you have a story to share, then please get in touch today. Still worth the journey at outlook.com is the email address. You can find us over at Facebook at Still Worth the Journey, and also on Instagram. If you use Instagram, then that's Still Worth the Journey as well. Whew. Susan, pleasure.
Thank you very much. Been
Take
a
care,
pleasure
guys.
speaking to you.
And you.
Take care.
Take care. Bye bye. Thank you very much for tuning in this week, guys. Really do appreciate it. If you want to reach out, you can do on all of the social medias and even the podcast sites, wherever you listen to your podcast. Just search Still Worth the Journey. And remember, you are still worth the journey.